If I could go back in time to the moment when my Adderall bottle was empty and I couldn't secure another prescription, and the only way to communicate to my past self was a YouTube video, I would send this one. This is for you. More specifically, Adderall. If I was really talking to my past self, even to him, I would start by saying, I'm not a medical professional, and YouTube videos may have profound wisdom and insight, but please, any decision to medicate or not medicate shouldn't be taken lightly, and you should make informed decisions with the input from your chosen medical and mental health professionals who support you. I am not a doctor, but I am a former patient. I did indeed take stimulant medication for ADHD for many years, and I did stop taking them abruptly. After surpassing the withdrawal of the Adderall I was taking, I started writing a book, Hocus Focus. You're gonna write a book, man. The first thing I would tell myself is this: it's okay to ask for help. You don't have to do it alone. You can tell someone what you're going through. There are psychiatrists and other mental health professionals who specifically help people get off these medications. I saw a holistic psychiatrist during my withdrawal, and it helped immensely. 2 of them. Their links are in the bio. In our case, we just went cold turkey, but you can get the doctor to prescribe you step-down doses if that's what they recommend. Prescribing you these medications you want to get off, they're the first person you should talk to about it. But the point here being is that somebody knows what you're going through. Even telling a loved one or someone you trust and hold dear that you're getting off these medications is a good move, just for somebody to know that's what you're going through in case you need them. When I was doing this, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anyone I took the meds, and I didn't tell anyone I was getting off them. When it was time to do that, I was going through this by myself. It was scary at times. Talking to somebody would have helped. There are a couple of online communities that were really helpful just to be able to talk to people in the same situation, and I'll add those in the description. Thing number 1.5, timing. Like, how long is the withdrawal? I get a comment a lot on my socials. How long is it's gonna take? It's different for everyone, I'm sure. I haven't surveyed anybody. The general consensus is it's a long project. In my own experience, it's very gradual. For the first part of it, it's just bad. It's just, your feeling is just totally flatlined. So that might be 3 to 6 months, maybe in my case, or most cases. After that, it's still really low, but every day gets a little bit better. So kind of once you get past this part and you get to this, you feel it building back, instead of just unable to do anything. Look at this like a year-long passion project. Yeah, it's like the first stage is a stage of deconstruction and collapse. Structure that you've built out of Adderall, like this architecture in your mind of how to work and how to control yourself and what you do with your day and how you manage your time, has been set in accordance with a daily amphetamine rituals. All of a sudden, this structure just kind of crumbles and falls down. I lost my job. It was a mess. And a lot of that mess was attributed to not taking Adderall. I had to get through it. There was other stuff on the other side. Seeing it as an opportunity for growth, healing, and advancement of the self really was encouraged. And if you're really concerned about how long this is going to take, I would say to you, once you really commit to something, how long it takes doesn't matter because you're committed to it. Thing number 2. Let yourself rest. You know, for me, on those medications, I was always up, I was always down, I was always all around with my time. I could just go, and I'd wake up and I'd go. When it ended, I was so tired and lazy. This slump, this heaviness, and I let myself rest too. Hang out, whatever. Your mental acuity, your cognition, just let it, because it's gonna do it, likely, if it was holding up, that structure. Cradle it, let it fall, and nurse it back to health. I definitely supplemented with a lot of caffeine and probably cannabis to try to treat the depressive effects of it. But try to avoid of that kind of syrupy, sugary garbage, and see if you can get yourself some tea, coffee. Coffee seems like it's fair. I know there's all kinds of debate. I can't imagine doing this withdrawal without caffeine. Yeah, I stop taking meds or whatever. What's this big deal? Why does this guy make these videos? This is insane. If you're not that person, then this might help. Subscribe to the channel. Yeah, I really appreciate you being here with me. Thing number 3, eating. The relationship I had on these medications with food was so different. I would pack little bits of food sometimes, and at other times I would end up binging in the spaces between using the amphetamines. I was really skinny, and in a way I enjoyed, or I relished in, or I was proud of this scrawny physique. That was a problem. I think that the medication did give me, getting off of them, I definitely found myself eating a lot and craving food. I think it's good to allow yourself to learn to enjoy food, learn to appreciate food, find foods that nourish that which manifests itself as ADHD in you. There's so much to learn about food, herbs, teas, and supplements, and everything you put in your actual body to take care of your physical brain that supports where all the thoughts and stuff come from. Examine, study, research, experiment with yourself to see what works. Consciously pay attention to what goes in you and how you react so you can better learn how to manage. In a way, you are returning to your body. Thing number 4, listen. It's okay to be sad. In fact, it's probable. Feeling depressed is a primary symptom of withdrawal of these medications. The meds, when used, to put it generally, make you feel good, and in reversal, that side effect is in withdrawal, one is likely to feel bad, to put it generally. In my experience, the emotional toil I experienced on the absence of this chemical was the most challenging part of the shift from taking it to not taking it. I hope this video helps you, and I hope you get through it, and it's beneficial in the long run. During the withdrawal, there was a continuous attitude of malaise, complaining, zoning out, and sometimes an argument in my mind between what felt like my true self and a visitor in my head called the advocate. The advocate was a voice that was left over from all the Adderall, like a farmer rep that slept on the floor of my prefrontal cortex, advocating to me from within to get back on meds as soon as possible. The urgency was that of yesterday is already too late. When things like this happened, I realized that what's happening is a real drug addiction. That I can call it what I want. What I was experiencing and why I was experiencing it was my addiction to drugs. When I took it, I thought I was a person taking their medication. But then when I really examined what I was going through in the withdrawal, I realized that I was in a drug addiction. I was a recovering drug addict, and I looked at it like that. I would hold these dialogues, rationalizing against quitting the meds, and another voice in my head that would lobby the emotional congress in my brain to direct my body to seek out amphetamines and put them in my body. I worked with the voice. I ignored it. I talked with it. I held dialogues, and I knew that it was going to go away, and I wanted it to go away, and I didn't want to cave into what it was telling me to do. So I buckled up for the withdrawal. I did have a couple of relapses on the way. But listen, the side effect of sadness, it's not the truth. Things you are telling yourself are not the truth about yourself. This is me talking to me. I don't know if you're going to experience this, but for me, there was this crazy delusion and illusion, misunderstanding, crashing of my identity. I just had to ride it out, and that's what I kept telling myself the whole time. The withdrawal made my mind speak to me in ways that were really unkind. If I thought this voice was me, I'd be in a really bad situation, but I knew it was that my thoughts weren't me. My thoughts were reaction to stress and inflammation, that things were going on, and that I was okay, and I was gonna be okay, and you're gonna be okay. Which brings me to thing number 5, which I'm already kind of saying, which is you are not your withdrawal. Your withdrawal is something that's going to pass over you. You will experience it as it expresses itself, slowly dies away. At the time of my stoppage, I had been a user for the better half of my life. I just kept reminding myself, this is a passing emotion. It doesn't belong to me. Find a way to remind yourself that this isn't you. Interface with this feeling as it's passing. Every day it got smaller and smaller and smaller. In the rearview mirror of my life, I drove forward through time, and it was back there. Sometimes you lose focus on the road if you look at the mirror too much. This withdrawal that's happening, it puts a crack in the foundation of things, which is a demand for repair. The way that might come out is a situation that calls for an emotional release. It may happen, and you may have to let go of things. Resentments, bad thought, guilts, shames, all this stuff related to medication, related to people in your life, related to your relationship with yourself. It's like a whole big reckoning. It's an opportunity to release these resentments, these feelings, and learn to grow. When I took them childhood and adulthood, some people think it's beneficial to take them as you grow up and then stop, which is crazy, but that's what happened to me, but I stopped suddenly, and it was a great opportunity to come of age. Thing number 6, go outside. When things start getting better, start doing better things. Go for walks, bike ride, forest bathe, swim, sit on a park bench, go fishing, exercise, get stronger. Even Hippocrates knew that was a cure for ADHD. Hippocrates, father of modern medicine, remarked that those who had a hard time focusing and a quick reaction to stimuli had an imbalance of fire over water. Contemporary analysts assume he was describing ADD. It's fitting to associate ADD with the element of fire. Fire is energetic, intense, and powerful. However, fire can also be consuming, dangerous, and destructive. Hippocrates provides an image in this description of our bodies constituted out of these polar elements of fire and water seeking to be balanced. His remedy for this was to drink lots of water, eat fish instead of other meats, and exercise vigorously. When I was going through my withdrawal, I would go on vigorous runs. I would walk out my door and just run till I was tired, and then I'd run back. It really helped me wake up my body, get the juices flowing. Dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine. There are these chemicals that I wanted to be released, and exercise just brings them in. Number 7, this one is kind of dramatic, and it's no guarantee to happen at all. Getting off medication for some people is a major life decision that will result in large life changes. This could mean moving, changing jobs, starting and ending relationships. And I remind you that this is like me talking to myself when I'm younger. I'm not telling you that you're gonna quit your job and get a divorce if you quit your medication, but it could happen. Maybe if you have those feelings, hold out. Don't make any rash decisions. Just let things play out. Be attentive, but you might need to move. You might need to get a new job. You might need to re-examine your relationship as you come back into a different version of yourself. It might be that profound, or it might be like, yeah, I stopped taking meds or whatever. What's this big deal? Why does this guy make these videos? This is insane. If you're not that person, then this might help. Subscribe to the channel. We're on number 7. You might change career. You might change relationships. For me, I guess I did change both. I got fired and did some random odd jobs for a few years, and then I really thought about what I wanted to do, and then I pursued my career. And I changed relationships from single to married because I did. I also found that my ability to connect with a person on a deep level was enhanced by not taking the medication. Just go with that flow. Be a new person. There are ways to prevent changes in your life, but quitting medication may provide changes that are unavoidable. Look for the good stuff. Maybe this is what one needs for growth. This is kind of pruning away of things that hold you back. There may be challenges with just the mundane aspects of life. So you're like, if I can't even get through a mundane day, how can I ever do anything meaningful? And you just enter the day and exit the day unbalanced, emotionally unstable, and exhausted. And your brain is foggy. You just have to get used to being on the journey until you get to the other side, and that's it. Getting to the other side isn't like it's just slowly, it's boring. Once it gets boring, then you're really doing the right thing. And then eventually you're like, oh yeah, doing pretty good with that. Number 8, after you were lost, you will be found. Be prepared to get to a different version of yourself. The issue that initiated you to be diagnosed with ADHD, it's going to be right there where you left it, staring you right in the eyes. Something in you you've neglected, something needing addressing on your fundamental character's growth. From the outside, looking in, when I was on the medication, I looked like someone who was working hard, but I was working feverishly. I was working with fervor. I was working compulsively. I was always doing things, but I don't know if I'd call that work, because when I was off the meds, I realized how hard work it was to do anything. I realized that that's the whole point of hard work. It's hard. Wow, right now, this is hard. So if I did it anyways, it would be hard work. That's what I learned. Taking something traumatic and hard, like the withdrawal, as an opportunity to sharpen an axe, sharpens the axe of sharpening the axe. You know what I'm saying? Hone in skills at times of adversity. Number 9, refill the mind. When I was taking the pill every day, I was doing something. It did something. Put something in. You need to be resourceful with what you have. Learn to focus your mind with your mind. If you can't at first, I can't. Keep trying. Just trying to do that is doing that. Just keep coming back to something. Talking about a mindfulness practice, prayer, meditation, yoga, breathwork. A mindfulness practice such as meditation, prayer, yoga, and breathwork won't make you feel like you're on Adderall, but they will definitely help you feel better in the withdrawal of Adderall. A lot of what's going to be happening in this experience is going to be happening in the mind. So that's a place you want to devote energy to maintaining, preserving, protecting, supplying, exercising, strengthening, and being attentive to its needs. Even to go so far as say take care of the brain as an organ, consuming omegas and other beneficial nutrients for the brain. Your brain needs to be fed, especially after taking all those meds. I do a lot of breath work. There are many breath works, routines, and styles. Try them all. It always feels good to just focus on your breath. When I do it, I feel so in my right self. But find something. Number 10, make a plan. I wouldn't recommend finishing that last capsule and that last bottle and then just stopping out of nowhere and without telling a doctor, parents, or friends, or anyone that you're doing it. That's what I did, and I wouldn't want to do it again. The only silver line, I think, is the withdrawal being so bad for me is that because it was so bad, I'm not going to do the medication again. It's a big deal doing this whole thing. So, make a plan how you want to do this and write it down. It's a meme among the ADHD community. So someone will be like, hey, I have ADD. And then they'll say, someone who doesn't have ADD is like, just get a planner. And then they'll say that they're like, you just can't get a planner. But if you learn how to use a fucking planner, I had to learn how to use a fucking planner. And once I did, it's become an integral part of my life. I wouldn't say it's just buy a planner, but I would say learn to use a planner that works for you. I used a productivity planner. I put the link down there, and that was a great one. But I also designed and bound my own, and I made my own techniques for planners. I went really deep into planners and going into your own strategies. So I make a strategy, and this, integrating the creative process into stuff like this really gets you into it. So being creative about how you get off medication, it's an opportunity to be creative and to make up your own stuff. We all gotta do what we gotta do to get through this thing of life. If you're taking medications out there and you feel like me talking about this is making you feel any kind of shame, know that I ain't throwing that shade at you. I'm just trying to talk to people who want to get off it. And if that's you later, you can come back. But if you want to keep taking medication, But if you want to keep taking medication, you can keep taking medication. I'm not going to fault you for that or anything like that, because I love these medications when I was on them. But I do want to tell you that if you're in this situation, it gets better. It will get better. It might get worse for a while. That's going to get better. Everything's going to be all right. Keep going. Bonus tip number 11. Write a book about your experience. For 10 years, I looked back and I examined the entire experience from childhood to withdrawal in this book, where I highlight all that experience. You could read my book, or you could write your own, or you could do both. But the link for my book's in the description. And yeah, if you watch this whole video, you might like it. Thanks, and I hope you're well. Subscribe to the channel.